Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. We have some breaking news coming from the Middle East as the Israeli Defense Forces are winning both in Gaza and in Yemen. The entire cabinet and the leadership of the Houthis have now been officially eliminated. We only have 4 junior members left of the Houthis, 4 of the junior ministers, so-called ministers, obviously. We're going to go through the name and shaming every single terrorist in Yemen. We're also going to give you guys the latest videos coming from Gaza City, as we have had a number of senior assassinations of the Hamas operatives as well. There's a lot to cover, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we also do have our live feed from the border between Gaza and Israel, which of course we'll keep an eye on this as well. Things are relatively stable as we speak. The operation, obviously the main operation for assassinations ended a couple of hours ago. But first things first, let's give you guys the latest. The Israeli attacks earlier on in Gaza City, which targeted the spokesperson for Hamas's Al-Qassam brigade. This is Abu Ubaidah, with the building which was targeted that has been completely destroyed. Let's go to the first video. F around and find out. Now, at this point, if any civilian is still staying in Gaza City, it's their own fault because they know they should not be there. It's an active combat zone. And we will get back to the Houthi and the Blowfish as well. Before we do that, there has been some reaction from the Muslim Brotherhood. They're having a bit of a meltdown, as usual. They have condemned the Israeli assault on the Houthi cabinets. But let's stay on the situation in Gaza first. Then we're going to give you guys the names of all the cabinet ministers of the Houthis. And by the way, for those of you who are familiar with Chunk of the Young Turks, he has once again proven to be more stupid than a squirrel with a learning disability, because he thinks that the Houthi cabinet is the official cabinet of Yemen. Don't know why. And but going back to the other hellhole, which is Gaza, one of the senior members of the October 7th invaders, that was part of course, the invasion of Israel, has now been eliminated as well. This is part of this series of the assassinations we've had today. Let's go. We probably don't need the music. Alright, we could probably turn down the music. That was that disgusting man who invaded Israel with his other terrorist friends. I think this is in the kibbutz. And then, yeah, you can see him underneath. That's in 2023, in October. And of course, he had a problem with growing a mustache. He could only grow a beard. You know, it makes the life quite tough when you can't grow a mustache. And then at the end of the day, you turn out to be, that's the best you could do with a mustache. Now, of course, then that makes you a little bit frustrated and you want to go crazy. And he did go crazy. He decided to F around. And now he's found out. Kids, don't try this at home. Do not invade another country illegally. All right. Now, in regards to the Israeli Air Force and what they have now done in Yemen, this is absolutely astonishing, by the way. But the Air Force were attacking Yemen, but they're also attacking Gaza City. They, by using intelligence gathered by both IDF and Shin Bet, they have carried out a targeted attack in Gaza City on Abu Ubaidah. I'm sure a lot of you are now familiar with this face. I mean, you can't really see his stupid face because he covers it all the time because he really cares about public health and COVID. He doesn't want to be infected. That's why he covers his face. And he's the senior, or was the senior spokesman for Hamas's Al-Qassam brigade. We believe that he has now been eliminated. We are waiting for his smelly body to be recovered, and we'll find out exactly if the assassination was fully successful or not. This was the location, the building in which he was hiding in, thinking he's Spider-Man, but of course he wasn't, and apparently he's allegedly dead. Now, that aside, let's talk about the Houthi and the Blowfish. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been wiped out. The senior leadership, the cabinet, they only have 4 junior ministers left. This is absolutely brilliant. They have now been destroyed by the Israeli Defense Forces in a single assault on, I was going to say Yemen. Slightly different to Yemen. And let's quickly go to the video we have from the moment of attack in Sana'a. Full house. There's going to be a lot of virgin goats. A lot of virgin goats in the afterlife. They made a big mistake. They were having a secret meeting all in one building. The thing is, you should have learned your lesson by now, since 2023. You do realize, you idiots, that the intelligence coming from Mossad and Shin Bet would actually be effective enough to find out where you are hiding. So, you've seen what's happened to the Hezbollah leadership. You've seen what's happened to the IRGC. Oopsie. And that's why you do not hide explosives in a building that you're going to have a meeting in. That's not a good idea. Once again, do not try this at home. Anyway, something Arabic. Now, as we said, we can now confirm that the entire senior leadership of the Houthis have now been destroyed. This is, let's go one by one. Let's go and celebrate. The foreign minister of, I love how they had a foreign minister. I mean, he had a bit of a problem with cocaine addiction, I'm sure, as you can see in this photo. His nose was twitching. The foreign minister of the Houthi cabinet has been eliminated. We also have Mohammed. There's going to be a lot of, for the record, just a heads up, there's going to be a lot of Mohammeds in this list. Mohammed Ayvash Qayyum, who was the Houthi minister of transportation. Yes, the transport minister has now been eliminated. Oh no, who's going to look after the buses? Oh, this is terrible. Now, we also, alongside him, have the sports minister. The Houthi sports minister. I'm not really sure what sports was he experienced in. Guess what his name was Mohammed. Yes, Mohammed al-Mawlid. He has also been eliminated as part of the Houthi leadership, but he's not the only one. We have a lot of Mohammeds and Ahmeds. Yes, let's go to Mujahid Ahmed, who was the Minister of Justice. Now, the one good thing about Mr. Ahmed was that as a Justice Minister, he was not as woke as the judges of the United Kingdom and the Minister of Justice. He was at least a little bit more traditional, but he did hate the gays and women and children and everybody. So that was the other problem with him. He wasn't really a perfect minister. Of course, next we have Samir Bajala. Yes, he has also been eliminated. Guess who he was? Oh yes, he used to negotiate with the trade unions. He was the Minister of Social Affairs and Labour, as in workers, not the Labour Party. I'm sure he would have loved to have connections with the British Labour Party, but he didn't have enough time to do that. He has also gone to the afterlife. Next, we have Hashem Sharaf al-Din. He was the Minister of Information. Essentially, he was in charge of the spies, unless the definition of Minister of Information was that he was in charge of sending emails and faxes to other people to ensure that everybody gets their info from him. He did have relatively good hair, not too bad. He could have done slightly better style with that, but he's gone now. Next, we have Jalal al-Rawaishan. Now, Jalal was the Deputy Prime Minister of the Houthis. he is no longer with us. We can now officially have a 2-minute silence for him. Anyway, next, we also do have for us the Houthi education minister, Hassan al-Saadi. He has also been eliminated. He lived his life in a very difficult situation where he was always blurry and people couldn't really see him, as you can see in this high definition picture. It's just his face that is very blurry. He was born that way. Of course, everybody has some sort of disability. He is no longer with us either. We also have Abdul. Of course, we were always gonna have some sort of Abdul in this list. Abdul is gone. Abdul Majid al-Murtada. He was Houthi's deputy interior minister. Now, for the record, if you're the interior, as part of the interior ministry of the Houthis, you're not actually in charge of the decoration of the building because they didn't do a good job. This is supposed to be the home office of the Houthis. I think he's a little bit responsible for the chaos that caused the cabinet having their secret meeting being revealed. Somebody leaked. Somebody messed up. Somebody's going to get fired in the Houthis. Next, let's go to Moeen al-Mahagri. He was the Houthi Minister of Commerce. Oh, he was in charge of business, guys. He was in charge of trade. He was in charge of all the shipments. And his job was basically to block the sea to make sure that no ship could actually go past. His job was to stop commerce rather than promote it. I wonder why that department didn't do too well. He didn't read the guidelines, did he? Next, we have Ali Saif Mohammed, of course, another Mohammed, a senior Houthi figure and a former Minister of Energy, Electricity and Water. Essentially, he was the Minister of Net Zero. He's the Houthi version of Ed Miliband in the United Kingdom, just with a slightly better moustache. And he is now a little bit dead. And next on the list, we have yet another Mohammed. We haven't had enough Mohammeds, have we? Another Mohammed. This is Mohammed Nasser al-Atifi, Houthi government's defense minister. But good news, guys. This Mohammed is still alive. He is critically wounded. I think he's got a paper cut or something, but he's in a hospital. We don't know if he's alive or not. We'll find out from probably the Gaza health minister will probably let us know. If he dies, that means 50 million civilians have died, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Next reaction we have now received from this grumpy, angry man. I don't blame him for being angry. After the Houthi government cabinet has been eliminated, the so-called now president, he's now the president of the Houthis, Mahdi al-Mashat. He has released a statement. He's not happy, guys. He has said, "The enemy has pained us," you think? "But we will take revenge and turn our wounds into victory." They have been saying the same thing since the 7th century. Every day is about revenge. Every week, at some point, there will be some sort of victory. We're still waiting for the victory from Islam, but they keep losing and losing and losing. But there will come a victory. One day there will be victory, guys. Should we go to the other nutters? Because it's not just about the Houthis. We can't just give all the attention to the Houthis in Yemen. Let's talk about the other nutters in Gaza. Yeah, there has been yet another problem in the office today. Palestinian sources have now confirmed that the IDF have eliminated the senior Hamas police commander, Rami Ammar, known as Abu Yusuf. Why? Although he had a different nickname, in case you didn't know, he was the pharaoh of Burey in the central Gaza Strip. So his actual name was Rami Ammar. That's a nice name, Rami. But he decided to go as Abu Yusuf, or the pharaoh. Just go with Rami. It's like a rock star name. Come on. So now that's why he's dead. Terrible name pick. Now, there is a lot to focus on in regards to the latest developments. As I said, we still have the live feed from the border between Gaza and Israel, we are getting some information of just verifying the latest numbers because there's some worrying news coming from inside Iran. The supreme leader, who is now the supreme rat leader of the Islamic Republic, is still hiding in a bunker. He has been brought out twice since the so-called ceasefire with Israel. He came out first time to just sit in the corner in public, not talk. He was shaking. He needed his drugs. He has to be high all the time. Second time was recently. It was last week, and he was perky. I think he just took his drugs. But while he is still not feeling safe, and the rest of the senior leadership of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, what they have been doing in order to do a crackdown on the uprising that is ongoing in Iran, they have accelerated their authoritarianism, which is becoming absolutely disgusting, by the way. So the latest number that we can now have, at least 841 people have been executed since the beginning of the year. This is according to the Human Rights Office. These are the anti-IRGC Iranians who have been protesting and leading the uprising against the Islamic occupation. In 2024, there were 975 executions. In July last month alone, after the ceasefire, 110 people were executed by the Islamic occupation. That's twice as many as the previous year. They are panicking. They can't control anything else. All they can do is to just do a crackdown. That's all they can do. Just start basically killing people, Iranian people, left, right, and center. And guess what? Nobody in the liberal globalist establishment, the international community, cares about the genocide of the Iranian people. They don't care. Greta Thunberg is getting on a boat again to go towards Israel. She doesn't care. The Labour Party doesn't care. The Liberals in Canada don't care. The US Democrats don't care. None of the governments, apart from the US government, none of them care. The British government is completely silent. They don't want to get involved. The French are terrified because they are partly responsible for the Islamic occupation in 1979 alongside CIA and MI6. So that's what's going on. The Houthis in Yemen, they now have a new task. They have to find a new senior team. And the problem that they have is that they're going to have to go through the interns, the work experience terrorists. They don't have the experience. The same problem that Hezbollah had a few months ago. And they haven't really been able to come back. You know, they have had a terrible, terrible downfall. Almost as bad as Manchester United since Alex Ferguson left. And especially over the last few months, since last season, Manchester United is struggling with actual leadership. Same problem for Hezbollah, same problem for the Houthis. The Houthis have been trying their best to brainwash kids, but those kids are still very young. They haven't had time to grow up, to become senior, experienced terrorists. You got to give them time. The brainwashing, in case you didn't see this, a few months ago, was it back in May, they proudly posted this video of the kids in Yemen. We have subtitles, and they were threatening America. This is child abuse, by the way. Watch this. So loud. We will drink your blood and snake your throne. Shake, not snake. Very angry. This is literally child abuse. We will finish you off. We will starve you. Disgusting. Something about Spider-Man. Something about Alan Snackbar. Curses upon the Jews. Oh, the Jews. This is what you have to deal with in the future in Europe, in the West, because a lot of these guys are going to grow up and going to come to the West because we're allowing it to happen. To be fair, it's still not as embarrassing as the Pakistani school kids who, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen that video on YouTube, who went and said, I will die for Pakistan. And then the teacher says, grape. That is a terrible, terrible example of, well, kind of comedic child abuse, but it's still child abuse. So the assassinations on the Houthis have now reached over 50. So we'll get the exact number. As I said, we have only 4 junior ministers left of the Houthis. So somebody needs to become leader. Come on, who wants to take the job? Hands up if you're a part of Houthi and the Blowfish and want to become a leader. No one? Okay, it's because they're all terrified. Anyway, so a lot of the Houthis have already fled Yemen, as some of you already know, and we reported on Tousi TV a while ago. They are now in the United Kingdom. We have confirmation that the Houthi members have crossed the English Channel from France over the last few weeks, and they have arrived in the United Kingdom. They are currently in the migrant hotels up and down the country. And the government is not doing anything about it. They are claiming to be asylum seekers from Yemen, part of Yemen that was controlled by their own people, the Houthis, and they were members and supporters of the Houthis. Somehow they still need asylum. And the British government says, oh, of course, yeah, sure. All we have to do is just raise some taxes on British taxpayers, and of course we're going to give you whatever you need. Now, there is a lot of reaction here, but before we do that, let's not forget, one of the main important points that we are here for is to make sure that you have complete access to Tousi TV, the geopolitical news, to make sure you're always up to date with everything we do, news posts, news alerts, live shows, interviews, podcasts, documentaries, chat forum, which we're going to get to in a second. The best thing you can do is, of course, get access to the full channel, not just YouTube. Join Tousi TV Plus. Use the QR code, scan it, or go on tousi.tv. All right, where are we now? Do we have, yeah, we have reactions, guys. Let's see what was happening. Let's celebrate the death of the Houthis. Mini Mobile Review, thank you for your super chat. Says, Tousi, you legend. Thank you. I'm not a legend, but, you know, getting close to one. But next one says, from Australia, I haven't seen anything about 4 Israeli IDF soldiers missing in Gaza. Please clarify from yesterday. Yeah, so we are still waiting for info on that side, but they managed to evacuate all the soldiers now. Yeah, the IDF helicopters. So the ones that there were the confirmations of some of them who have been killed, but the rest have been injured. They are all now back in Gaza, in Tel Aviv. And they will be going through recovery. You don't mess with the Zohan, says Unusual AI. Stu says, sports minister equals Biden seek. I think that's hide and seek champion. Now revoked. Yes. Enoch says, do they have enough revirginated billy goats left for all of them in China? This is why I founded the Goat Defense League a couple of decades ago. Yes, the goats' lives matter, guys. And Kevin says, what will the Saudi and UAE militaries do now? Well, I think the priority for both Saudi and UAE is to simply focus on Gaza. And in terms of the Yemen side, they're just happy. I think tonight, their leadership in both Saudi and UAE are getting drunk. They're having a party. Because they're basically going to be easily push out the IRGC out of Yemen. It's over. The battle in Yemen is essentially not right now instantly, but it's basically over. It's going to take a few months for the Yemeni side to take back control of the country, but because it's still going to have a lot of terrorists, you still have a lot of the Houthi supporters, junior terrorists, who are still walking around. They just don't have leadership anymore, but they still exist. But that's the job of Saudi and their military and their proxies to go and push them out so that they could go back somewhere else. DNA says, Tousi, you crack me up. You've got to be the best and funniest person ever to tell us news. Love it. The Houthi and the Blowfish. I'm born blurry. It was a disability. Stop making fun of people's disabilities, guys. Come on. Now, that was just to support my own argument that we do get high definition photos. If someone's blurry, it's not my fault. Let's go to the members of Tousi TV Plus. See, if you become a member, you get access to this. The chat forum. Deb says, it looks like they are finally making progress. yeah, it took about 2 years. To be fair, in defense of the Israeli Defense Forces, they've been literally fighting on all fronts. It hasn't really been easy. And also, they've been mostly fighting remotely, mostly through either airstrikes, drones, and everything else. So, considering that they managed to basically dismantle Hezbollah, and the Syrian Shia militias have been basically disappeared, Gaza, I mean, it's technically over. You just have to sort out the booby traps so that the Israeli soldiers could just go and take over. And Yemen is no longer Yemen, is Nomen. Neil says, can we tell the IDF that there is a terrorist cell in at Downing Street? We do not condone this behavior. That will be an assault on the crown. But yeah, they should be investigated in Downing Street. Papa Pork says, oh dear, shame. They won't be missed. Yeah. To be fair, half the people didn't even know who they were. Like, I'm pretty sure half the people in Yemen didn't even know who they were. I mean, who knew that the Houthi cabinet had a sports minister? So, the Houthis lost their blowfish, says Ubu, thank you. Andrew says, we now know mosques are being used as weapons stores in the UK. And that, as with the rape gangs, the taxi companies will distribute weapons and persons around your locality. Be aware. Yeah, I mean, people in the UK definitely have to be vigilant now and always be on standby. Nobody's safe, unfortunately, especially after what happened last night in Epping with one of the illegal migrants who basically was showing off and threatening the British patriots, saying, I have guns, I know how to use a gun. That's the level of migration we are currently having into the West. Scrolls Away says the IDF had their crispy, streaky bacon butteries for breakfast before going in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, to be fair, only some of the members of the IDF could eat bacon. Those who are Christian or atheist, the rest of them can't. How stupid do you have to be to all be in one place at the same time during a war whilst you are being targeted, idiots? I know, I literally been telling them off. You saw what happened to the Hezbollah leadership when they decided to be brave and meet in the same building. You saw what happened with the IRGC leaders who made the same mistake. Don't be stupid. Use something else. I mean, you can't really use pagers. You can't trust pagers or walkie-talkies. Use your fax machines. I mean, it will be difficult because you have to wait for someone to send the fax first. Hello, everybody. Is everyone in the meeting? Wait for everyone to reply with the fax. Yes, yes, yes. And then say, so what's on the agenda? Point number 1 of the meeting. Did anybody bring alcohol? No. Right. Cynthia says the best news this week. Bye-bye, a-holes. Yes, and Susie says, I thought Israel only targeted children. Weird-looking kids. They all screamed how they wanted to meet Allah. We just granted them their wish. They keep saying they prefer death over life. Israel is doing a favor. It's time for the Islamists to say thank you to Israel. Say thank you, Bibi. It's not difficult. Be grateful. Ding dong, a witch is dead. A wicked old witch is dead. And a lot of witches died during this attack. So many witches. Can we get 2 minutes of laughter? As a mark of respect, I'll start. Rug Trooper. That's a lot of minutes for laughter. Right, Papa Pork says, so the IDF have taken out the Man United. Okay, I was almost losing it earlier today because, what's going on here? What? Oh, it's there. Hang on. Stay here. I'm leaving you. I'm not leaving you, don't worry. I was about to literally get angry and I was about to throw this out my window. we were about to lose to Burnley. Then I was like, you know what? Give United one more chance. We've just about managed to win. Last minute penalty again, as usual. All right. We have someone who's not happy, guys. Uh-oh. Okay. Everybody, brace yourselves. Ready? Heavy in the game says, you are a son of a bee. You know that? Is that it? Come on, you could do better. Is he commenting more? Heavy in the game. Please follow up on that comment. I am looking forward to debating with you. This is exciting. In the words of Margaret Thatcher, I'm enjoying this. Oh dear. We have to wait for him because there's a 20-second delay. Sam says, glory, glory, Man United. Yes, but not now because it's embarrassing. Where is that guy? Where is the guy who thinks I'm a son of a bee? I do appreciate, by the way, I really appreciate that guy. Where is he gone? Where is his comment? One of the reasons is he respected the rules of the game. It's a family show. Censor the word bee. We don't swear on Tousi TV. Good. Is he coming back? I've given him a chance. I think he's probably gone to ChatGPT to ask for a new insult to come back. All right, give him a few minutes. Nope, not yet. All right, so let's get some other people. Will the Muslim Brotherhood leaders now call an emergency Cobra meeting with the two-tier Kia in their London mansions? Well, the Muslim Brotherhoods technically control more of the universities. So they're probably going to have meetings with the academics to decide what to do next in the world. I completely forgot about them, by the way. Forgot about the existence of the Muslim Brotherhood. They've been a little bit quiet, but it's mostly because they don't really use their labels. They're everywhere. They control everything. Jay North says, you, as in me, are a stupid immigrant. I mean, come on, guys. If you're going to be trolls, be either, I always give the advice, either be slightly more detailed or be funny or original. Anyway, the good news, as we said, was well, good news and bad news, of course. The bad news was last night's heavy operation in Gaza City. The Israeli Defense Forces did suffer some losses. There have been some deaths in the IDF, and the rest of them, there were a number of injuries. Of course, there were a number of soldiers who were missing for a bit, but they found them. The helicopters went and, as we said earlier, picked them up and took them back to Tel Aviv. They are now going through recovery, and it was a tough night for the IDF. This was supposed to be basically testing the waters in terms of the ground troops going in. There was always going to be a lot of booby traps. There's going to be ambush, but that, I think this is part of the whole reassessment of how things are on the ground if you're going to send your soldiers in. So good news is everybody's been found, but a number of people have been injured and killed. What else do we have? Now it says, I didn't think he will shout that Muslim committed genocide against other Muslims. Who's this? Not sure who that is. That reminds me, I was going to show you what Cenk has said. Oh my God, this guy is the gift that keeps on giving. In case you don't know this, so I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Young Turks, right? The media channel, if you could even call it media channel. Cenk said, in reaction to what happened in Yemen, Israel just murdered the Prime Minister of Yemen and their entire cabinet. If anyone had done this to the Israeli Prime Minister and cabinet, they would be considered by Western media as the worst terrorists in the world. So what does that make Israel? They are obviously a terrorist state. Cenk, darling, the Houthi cabinet are not the cabinet of Yemen. The Houthis control the chunk of Yemen and they have their own pseudo-terrorist state. It's separate, okay? They're not the official government of Yemen. And that's not the Prime Minister of Yemen, you idiot. As I said earlier, a squirrel with a learning disability is smarter than Cenk. But, you know, it's not his fault. This is what happens when you are inbred. Don't do incest. It's not a good idea. Marvin says, thanks Globalist Wars for your refugees. You pray for it. That's not how it works, you idiots. It's the responsibility of governments not to let people in. Oh, God. All right. I wish Tousi TV would interview Mossab Hassan Youssef. I'd like to hear Tousi's thoughts on the Green Prince. Oh, we've done a lot of reports on Mossab. He's great, by the way. And he's done a lot of interviews and speeches. I'm sure a lot of people have already heard him out. Yeah, we've been trying to get in touch with him, and he's been busy going around a lot. So we'll hold him down at some point, force him. Rubaid says, if part of Hamas' strategy is to rely on the world to stop Israel for them, what happens when Israel no longer cares? The issue is that Israel still cares, which is quite difficult because the political cabinet in Israel, they still basically go with what is right for Israel, but at the same time they do cave in every now and then. They keep making compromises for America, for the European Union, for the United Nations. They could easily at this point say, we don't care, we're just going to do what we want to do, but it's not going to be easy. They're still standing up for what's right for them and for their country. Thought Provocateur says Israel has the best pager tech. Does Giuliani use it? Giuliani is now effing around compared to what he was saying a year ago, a few months ago, but he wanted to join the Abraham Accords. Now he's realized it's probably not a good idea because he's an idiot. Because his daddy, Erdogan, in Turkey is not going to be too happy about that. So he's coming up with excuses. Jesus is the Messiah. I think I mean Jesus. Jesus is the Messiah. John says, thank you, Tousi from Florida, the free state of Florida, for what you do. Thank you, John Davis. And Stu says, Cenk is just a child throwing tantrum. I think that the wording of that sentence is not right, but yeah. He is a child throwing tantrums. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Gaza, and still standing, despite what the media wants to show you. We will get back to you with more information on everything else been going on in Gaza City. Don't forget, get full access to Tousi TV Plus. Scan the QR code if you're watching on your TVs. Even if you're watching on your phone, what you can do is take a screenshot and then hold your finger on the QR code. I didn't know. Someone told me recently, and it goes straight. Or you could just go on Tousi.tv. The link is also in the description. Thank you so much. I'm Maya Tousi, and we are the media.